So it's been a while since I've done one of these videos talking about articles like these. So this article has been floating around on my timeline, and that is a ScreenRant article talking about how Zordon is finally admitted as the villain in the latest issue of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 104. And I read issue 104, I did my review. I'm kind of the Power Rangers comic guy on YouTube. And 104 wasn't a Zordon-focused issue. It was a Rita/Mistress Vile-focused issue. So I wonder where Zordon comes into this article and how they talk about it. Now, seeing how it's called Zordon is the villain, I feel like this is going to be the usual theory that has been spun for the longest time, where people say Zordon's a villain because he recruits kids and sends them into battle. That whole discussion that's been going on for like 10 plus years in the fandom online, this is just sort of regurgitated for a new audience, and they're just tying it into the latest issue of the comic. So let's give it a chance. Let's give Adam's article a chance and read it. I'm not going to be too harsh. I'll try not to be too harsh, because I understand that these people are just doing their job. They got to get an article out on time. So if I come off mean, no hard feelings. I just think you're bad at what you do, but you did try your best. So let's read this article. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers finally admits that Zordon is a villain. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are heroes, but it turns out their mentor Zordon is a bit more sinister than most people suspected. Ooh. And then we've got this issue of Zordon in the Eltarian War. Warning, spoilers for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 104. Check out my review, guys, it's really good. On the exterior, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is about young heroes granted powers to fight evil, but when you step back, you begin to understand that it's not that simple, and Zordon is not as heroic as he believes. Now the franchise finally acknowledges all of that, and the franchise finally acknowledges that all he's doing is employing teenage soldiers to fight in his endless war. Now that they were going to do that plot. Zordon was once a great wizard of the cosmos and even a friend of Rita Repulsa's mother, Lady Fianna. However, that relationship soured when Rita set out a course on universal conquest that lasted in a war for 2,000 years. Gonna stop you right there. Lady Fianna and Zordon's relationship. Zordon wanted to help her hide Rita from Master Vile because of what we learned in Edge of Darkness. Zordon does blame himself for what happened to Rita. He does blame himself. But there was no sour relationship between him and Fianna, and Zordon wishes like he could have been the one. I believe he sort of implied this. He could have been the one that he wishes he could have raised Rita. But what happened to Fianna, she died in Edge of Darkness. Zordon had nothing to do with it. That was sort of like the Phantom Rangers story. Now, Zordon sealed her away on the Earth's moon, not before she vanished him into a time warp, by the time of her release, the ancient alien and the founder of the Power Rangers had existed for countless centuries, had only known war. He had grown accustomed to seeing himself as a savior and the bastion of, I am messing up words, I do apologize. He had grown accustomed to seeing himself as a savior and a bastion of good, and stood tirelessly against evil at all costs. Zordon's role in the founding advisor of the Power Rangers showed that he is dedicated to the side of good. Okay, Power Ranger child sources, and then you've got a clip from issue 104 where they go to the planet at the end. Let's see, what clip are they using? What panel? I know what panel they're using, it's near the end. Under Zordon's tutelage, I thought you only had your run, Okay. So it's the scene where she's talking to Alpha 1. However, fans have long suspected that this ancient space wizard is not as noble as he seems, and that now is confirmed in Boom Studios' Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 104 by Melissa Flores and Simona D. Gianfinalis. I do apologize if I butchered your name. In this issue, Alpha 1 is joined by Rita Repulsa and flat out admits that his tutelage under Zordon has blinded him to the truth of the man. Even while he clings to the black and white notions of good and evil, he employs child soldiers to blindly fight in a never-ending war. Okay, I think they're twisting the article, because Vance... Okay, so let's read. Many have suffered because of it. Yes, that people have suffered it because of it, Grace and that. But the whole child soldiers hasn't been a long concept that Zordon has been doing. He hired Grace back in the 60s, I believe, and then that mission went in the shit, and that sort of made Zordon not want to recruit anyone else because of what happened there, until Rita was freed. Does he feel regret what happened to Grace? Yeah, he does. He admits that later. Is he employing child soldiers? Mixed subject, but he's not as evil as he thinks. And even later on in the issue, Zordon does admit that he's made some mistakes. Now, was he blinded by the Eltarian ways and he sort of comes around to that in the Eltarian War? Yeah, he does. Okay. This is an interesting step back for the franchise, which has also hung its heart on the simplistic notions of heroes and villains and heroes. Yeah, because it's a comic, they can go deeper into it. It's a bit of needed and well executed moralistic nuisance to a franchise that started as a cheaply produced kid show. Again, comics different. This issue in particular casts a new light on readers' evil motivations, while also questioning the intent and the execution of Zordon's force for good. Okay. So, Alpha 1 is the one that doesn't like what Zordon did. Alpha 1 was under the assumption that Zordon abandoned him and he just replaced him after he was supposedly destroyed. Kind of, yes. But that's Alpha 1's weird, twisted sense of justice, where he doesn't like Zordon and he sort of wants to do things in his own way because Alpha 1 thinks he's a hero, and he does stuff. Like, Alpha 1's sort of tricky. Like, we need to see more of him in this new arc so we can sort of... If you go back and read it, you can understand his motive, but Alpha 1 is going to go through this character development where he's going to team up with the villains. The giant floating head that leads the Power Rangers truly believes he's doing the right thing. Again, we kind of saw this in the Eltarian War, but he eventually learnt that he was sort of doing things by the Eltarian way, and he should listen to the Rangers. But that ironclad of certainty in his own righteousness was blinding him to his true villainy. Zordon's road to hell is not only paved with good intentions, but the bodies of teenagers. Oh god. When the franchise started out, Power Rangers were in high school, but that makes them no older than 18, possibly even younger. At the very... Okay, it is going into the whole child... Okay, we've seen this one. Okay, I know where this is going. He recruits children and stuff like that. We've all had that one. What do they say in the last bit of it? Rita is no pillar of justice and goodness, but at least she's honest about what she is. Zordon, on the other hand, is so enamored with his sense of purpose that no one realizes that the mentor of the leader of the... Oh my fucking god, is the true franchise, true villain of... Oh my god, they're fucking going at that angle. Jesus fucking Christ. I thought they'd go that angle. Jeez. Really? Sorry. Okay. I feel like Adam needs to go back and read Go! He needs to go back and read Mighty Morphin, issue 1 to 103. And he needs to read some of the side stuff like Edge of Darkness and catch himself up with the franchise. If he is, good for him. Good for him. Good for Adam. But I feel like he's missing the point, and this article was algorithm clickbait, but they brought up little of the comics and not understanding the motive. And they sort of disguise the whole topic of issue 104 to be sort of, I think Zordon's the bad guy because he recruits children. Like, that is like the oldest theory and argument that people have been making for the longest time, sort of to paint Zordon as a villain. And Zordon's like daddy head in a tube, he's not evil. In the comics it does bring out more of his personality, where he does sort of try and hold the Rangers back here and there and makes them follow his way, but they all come around on that in the end. And Zordon realizes that, hey, maybe my way isn't always the best way, but we can work together. I feel like this article was someone who had a glimpse of the comics, maybe watched my review, maybe watched a Dawson Wright or a George review, and then he just made the article, skimmed through a few pages, and tried to sort of take what he can and spin it. Is this article terrible? I feel like it started out alright, and then its like final paragraph kills it by doing that whole, I think Zordon's evil because he's recruiting kids. Yeah, everyone's made that article for the longest time, and then back in the day they tie it into like Power Rangers / Rangers. This article, not the best. Not the best, I will say that. I feel like they need to go back and maybe read issue 104, and maybe read other issues as well. I feel like maybe they jumped into the Recharge side of stories. I don't know, but this article, everyone on Twitter was right, this article was not good. It wasn't the best, and I feel like they're not going to get better, because apparently there's another one where they say Kimberly's turning evil because of what she did in a couple of other issues ago. I think issue 103, which I might break down. Maybe I'll break down these articles when they come out with their hot takes on what happens in the comic. But yeah, this article was something. I know I stumbled over my words a bit, but yeah, this article was a shit show. Sorry for the people who work at ScreenRant. I'm sure you're all awesome people trying to do your job, but this article was not the greatest. But if you're hiring, hit me up. But I don't think I'd write articles for you guys. But hey, if you want to consult me for information, my DMs are open and we can talk. But I think I'm going to bring it here. If you wrap it up here, bring it in here. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.